So Xiaomi Mix Flip. And this is right now being credited as the what Samsung should have done with the outside display of the Z Flip 6. Now, to be honest, it looks very similar to the Z Flip 6 when it comes to the full outside display. It is bezel-less, as you can see from the top here. It is almost literally zero bezels at all. I mean, there's very thin bezels around the whole entire display. Of course, around the cameras, the display does go ahead and circle around them. Of course, looking at some of these other images, you can see the OS is actually really optimized with different widgets for the outside display. Now, I will say, thanks to Cover Screen OS, there has been a lot of advancements when it comes to utilizing applications for these outside flippable displays. So it gets to a point now where you really, in all intents and purposes, can just use any application you want on the outside, no matter if you have the Motorola Razr, whether you have the Xiaomi Mix Flip, or you have the Z Flip 6, excuse me. It doesn't really matter. Or Z Flip 5. I mean, it's to a point where these outside displays are now, you could utilize these outside displays almost as if they're just a phone by itself. I've shown that off in videos. I've used it in videos where you can pretty much use your phone all day long with just the outside display. Now, of course, when it comes to the outside display, this looks gorgeous. It really does. And I think, this is why I said many times, when it comes to the flippable cell phones, whether it's Z Flip series or Xiaomi or whatever, is that we're kind of getting to a point now where I feel like we're at the crossroads when it comes to how much more you can upgrade with these flippable cell phones, because there's only so much you can add, right? There's only so much you can do. And now I feel like we're talking about, with the Flip here, bezel-less outside display. The outside display is a whole entire phone. The only thing I think you can do left when it comes display-wise is make the other side of the phone also a display. Like, there's nothing really else you can do here to make this any better, in my opinion. Now, I will say, you could do what Motorola did with making the inside display 144 hertz instead of 120. Again, I've said many times, I don't know how much that really helps, because all media is 60 hertz. Most games in the Android store are going to be 120 hertz at most. You're not going to find a single game above 120 hertz because there's no, phones that actually support above 120 hertz, especially not flippable cell phones. You might say other cell phones, yeah, but not flippable ones. So in order for a developer to sit there and say, okay, I want to go ahead and develop for this flippable cell phone, it doesn't really make sense for them to develop for above 120 hertz unless Motorola themselves are investing the money and spending the money to get them to create for their cell phone. Or again, we have a factor of other companies come out with above 120 hertz displays, and then, we can get into that kind of ballpark range. But really, this is the crossroads. There isn't much more to upgrade when it comes to these cell phones than what we have right now for the Flip here. And yes, you could add, better processing unit inside, Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 processor. I believe the Z Flip 6 does have the Gen 3, not the Gen 4. But even then, I mean, you're adding lipstick on a pig. There's only so much you're going to see difference-wise when you add, a Gen 3, for example, versus a Gen 4. I like the idea of having the Gen 4 because it's the most powerful processor. But if we're being honest, you're not going to see much of a difference. I mean, from a Gen 2 to a Gen 4, you're going to see such a little difference depending on your user case of actually using the product. If you do go ahead and use the phone as a power user, like your video editing, you're taking videos, you're taking pictures, you know, you're maybe playing games intensively, yeah, you're going to see a difference, right? And I know with the Z Flip 6, they also increased the gigabytes of RAM. That's another thing that they did do, was they made it have more RAM than the Z Flip 5, which I think is a huge factor. And again, to a certain degree, depending on your use case, could help out a lot. But it's like, again, you're seeing such a minuscule, you know, upgrade when it comes to how powerful these chips are, because I don't think a lot of people realize how powerful the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor is. And then you add Gen 3 and it's like, yeah, you're upgraded, but not really. So I think really the next big thing is going to be working on a couple things. And I think it's going to be the battery life, number one, and improving the battery life of these cell phones. Which, again, like I said, that's the biggest issue right now with the Z Flip series, or Z Fold series, that it has not upgraded the battery in 3 years. And it still has the smallest battery of any flip or foldable phone on the market right now, which is pretty dang bad. And then the next upgrade I think they're going to do is working on wireless charging when it comes to speeds. I mean, wired charging, wireless charging, it's going to come down to that. Now, of course, that's going to be a whole entire mess on itself. How are they going to perfect that? Is the batteries going to explode? Are they going to have another Galaxy Note 7 issue? Or how are they going to figure it out? So, again, there's all these factors, but we're maxed out, man. We're maxed out when it comes to these flippable cell phones. There's not much more Samsung or any company out there can do at this point. But, you know, Xiaomi definitely did a good job here. Tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.